The Second Amendment is about freedom. It's the fundamental right of Americans to defend themselves. It is a God-given right enshrined in our Constitution. The Founding Fathers knew an armed citizenry could defend against tyranny. They had just fought a revolution against a tyrannical government. The Second Amendment is clear. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. These words guarantee our individual right to own firearms. This right is inherent in our humanity. The Second Amendment is under attack today. Liberals and gun grabbers want to take away your guns. They want to control you. Gun control is not about the gun, it is about control. They say it's about safety, but we know the truth. We must be willing to fight for our rights. This is not just about guns. It's about freedom. It's about ensuring that the government fears the people, not the other way around. The Second Amendment is the cornerstone of American freedom. Our Founding Fathers understood the importance of a well-armed citizenry. They knew that a free people must be able to defend themselves, not just from criminals, but from a tyrannical government. They had seen firsthand the dangers of an oppressive government. The Founding Fathers believed in the right of individuals to own guns. They included this belief into the Constitution. The Second Amendment is about the right of the people to defend themselves, their families, their communities, and their liberty. Thomas Jefferson said, "The strongest reason for the people to retain the right to keep and bear arms is, as a last resort, to protect themselves against tyranny in government." George Washington echoed this sentiment, saying, "A free people ought not only to be armed, but disciplined." These were not just words. The Founding Fathers practiced what they preached. They knew how to use their weapons. They created a nation where the people were sovereign, and the government served at their pleasure. The Second Amendment is a reflection of this vision. It is a cornerstone of our freedom. The debate over the Second Amendment was heated from the start. Some of the founders saw no need to include the Second Amendment. They thought of it as a human right, and never gave the government the power to regulate firearms. Federalists and Anti-Federalists clashed over the balance of power. The Anti-Federalists saw an armed citizenry as a crucial safeguard against potential tyranny. They feared a standing army. They believed that a well-regulated militia, composed of ordinary citizens, was the best defense for a free republic. This vision resonated with the American people. The right to bear arms was a lived experience for many Americans. The Second Amendment enshrined this right. The phrase, well-regulated militia, reflects their belief in a disciplined citizenry. The right of the people to keep and bear arms underscores the individual nature of this right. The Anti-Federalists' vision continues to resonate today. The Second Amendment was written in a different time. Muskets and cannons were the weapons of the day. But the Founding Fathers weren't naive. They knew that technology would advance. The Second Amendment doesn't specify what types of arms are protected. It simply says arms. This broad language ensures that the right to bear arms remains relevant in the 21st century. The Second Amendment protects our right to own modern firearms suitable for military use. This includes handguns, rifles, and shotguns. It also includes fully automatic weapons. These are the firearms that are in common use today. There have been several cases before the courts recently affirming this view. In District of Columbia v. Heller, the court ruled that the Second Amendment protects an individual's right to own a firearm for traditionally lawful purposes. The Second Amendment is not stuck in the past. It is a living document that protects our right to own modern firearms, including military-style weapons. Section 5. The courts speak, Heller, MacDonald, and the right to bear arms. The Second Amendment's meaning has been debated for centuries, but the Supreme Court has spoken. In two landmark cases, District of Columbia versus Heller in 2008 and MacDonald versus City of Chicago in 2010, the court affirmed that the Second Amendment protects an individual's right to keep and bear arms. In Heller, the court struck down a Washington, D.C. law that banned handgun possession in the home. 2 years later in MacDonald, the court incorporated the Second Amendment to the states through the 14th Amendment. These rulings stand as a testament to the enduring power of the Constitution and the importance of an individual's right to self-defense. Section 6. Self-defense and the Second Amendment, protecting life and liberty. The Second Amendment is about freedom. But at its core, it's about the fundamental right to self-defense. It's about empowering individuals to protect themselves, their families, and their property. When seconds count, the police are often minutes away, if they show up at all. The Second Amendment ensures that law-abiding citizens don't have to rely on the government for their safety. Every day, Americans use firearms to defend themselves from criminals. They stop burglaries, they prevent assaults, they save lives. The liberal media often ignores these stories. They want you to be dependent on the government for your safety. The Second Amendment empowers individuals to take responsibility for their own safety. It allows them to defend themselves against criminals who would do them harm. The right to self-defense is a natural right that pre-exists government. It goes back to the beginning of time. Section 7. Safeguarding against tyranny, the ultimate check and balance. The Founding Fathers were deeply suspicious of government power. They had just fought a revolution against a tyrannical king. They knew that power corrupts, and that absolute power corrupts absolutely. They understood that the greatest threat to liberty comes from government. That's why they created a system of checks and balances. The Second Amendment is one of those checks. It is the ultimate safeguard against tyranny. A well-armed citizenry serves as a deterrent to government overreach. When the government knows that the people are armed, they are less likely to infringe on our liberties. The Second Amendment is not a relic of the past. It is as relevant today as it was in 1776. The Second Amendment is our insurance policy against tyranny. Section 8. Addressing the critics' gun control is not the answer. Gun control advocates are quick to blame firearms for violence. They exploit tragedies to push their agenda. They ignore the facts. They offer simplistic solutions to complex problems. They want to restrict the rights of law-abiding citizens. But criminals, by definition, don't obey the law. Gun control only affects law-abiding citizens. It makes them less safe. It makes them defenseless. The real problem is not guns, it's criminals. It's mental illness. It's a culture that glorifies violence. Gun control is not the answer. It's a knee-jerk reaction based on fear, not facts. Section 9. The Second Amendment. An enduring right for a free people. The Second Amendment is a fundamental right. It is enshrined in the Constitution. It is the cornerstone of American freedom. It protects our right to defend ourselves, our families, and our property. It safeguards against tyranny. It is a right that we must never take for granted. The Second Amendment is under attack today, but we will not back down. We will not surrender our rights. We will fight to protect the Second Amendment. We will fight for our freedom. The Second Amendment is not just about guns, it's about liberty. It's about the right of the people to be free. My rights are not up for negotiation. My rights don't end where your feelings begin. I will not respect or follow any law that disarms me and makes me a victim. Keep your head down and your powder dry.